Okay, let me introduce you to others on our panel if you've just joined us. We're talking about whether or not we have the right to know if a sex offender is moving into our neighborhood, or whether or not we are taking away the rights of someone who's done the time and is coming in trying to, you know, take back their lives. And I want you to meet Karen. You're a criminal lawyer.
Right.
You have defended rapists, I understand.
Right.
What do you think about this law in Louisiana and the state of Washington? Because certainly people all over the country are very interested in what's happening in Louisiana, that when a sex offender comes into a neighborhood, he has to notify his neighbors that he's there in the form of postcards and taking an ad in the paper. Does that kind of law appeal to you?
Not at all. I think it's completely overshooting the mark and missing the point of what our criminal justice system is supposed to be all about. Carol said that she believes criminals should do their, once they do their crime, they do their time. Well, with the example she's referred to, I imagine that young fellow is going to be locked up for the rest of his life. That's
Wrong. 10 years paroled.
Well, in Canada, you can't, for first-degree murder, which that one would be, you wouldn't get out for 25 years, but even in that case, you would be eligible for parole. I think this, in the case of sex offenders, having to have them inform the community, such as in Louisiana, once they come back in, there's no way that they can reintegrate successfully and get on with their lives. And they have committed a crime. I mean, they've been convicted of having done so, and they've done their time. And it's hard time for sex offenders. In Canada, you are put in segregated populations.
A year, 6 months, probation. No, that's not hard time. That's called soft time.
Well,
all right, let's meet Lynn. Lynn has been very active. You're really taking a page out of Carol's book. You were hoping that in the community you live in and many of the other communities around you, and you like this law that's been passed in the state of Louisiana.
Oh, I love it, and I want to see it adopted everywhere. Because I believe our rights come first, our children's rights, and too bad for them. And you know, it's like they've lost all rights when they committed that crime. These are innocent children that they're preying on. And I've had it.
But what good does it do to alert the community by sending out these postcards? How does that address the problem?
The problem? Well, we'll start with the court system. Let's talk about the problem. At least everybody will know what this person looks like, okay? And their children will see, this is who you stay away from, because these people prey, okay? They're predators. They prey on these children. They befriend them. They befriend the parents. You know, oh, here's a nice guy.
You're obviously thinking of one particular subset of criminal activity and sex offenders. I mean, sex offenses go all the way from the guy down in Louisiana where I guess he touched somebody over a blanket to people that repeatedly attack people, rape people, or get their thrills from killing somebody and then having sex with them. I mean, there are doctors in today's day and age that are being convicted for fondling women and giving them a breast exam the wrong way. Do you want your laws to apply to them as well?
I want it to apply to sex offenders. If they,
well, it's all, how do you define them?
A touch that's not wanted
that is something for the laws to define.
That's right.
But let me tell you something. I'm in mental health, and for a sex offender, there is no treatment, and they do not respond to treatment. And a lot of places that I have seen talk shows where they've had prisoners on television, they are asked the question point blank, what is it we can do to stop you? And you know what their answer is? Put a gun to my head, put a bullet in it.
Well, we better meet Chris. We better meet Chris here because he's a sex offender, and he says he's reformed, he's turned his life around, and you don't think that this is a law you'd like to see in your community?
Never, never. And as a matter of fact, I think that these women are very, very bitter, and I understand that they're bitter, but there is treatment here for sex offenders.
For pedophilia? There's no cure.
Well, I got no idea about those guys.
Well, I'm telling you, pedophilia cannot be cured.
I don't back them up too much either. The repeat offenders, I don't back up. But I mean, this here stuff,
thank you,
like everybody's being accused and you're going to dump on them for the rest of their lives. Well, that's not my case. I met a young girl and we were in a bar. We left together. We got a motel room together. The problem was that we both did a little bit of dope with our booze. I flipped out. I scared her. She ran out the door with no clothes on. I ran home. Now, the police didn't have to search for me. I phoned the police when I got home and said that I was the guy that was there.
But you were convicted of
But what? I was convicted, and I'm still paying the price.
What were you convicted of, Chris?
That's why I'm sitting here. I was convicted of rape. And we didn't even have sex.
Well, that's another issue. You know, he didn't
That's
do it,
another
you
issue.
didn't do it. I'm telling you,
No,
there's
but
all
I'm saying,
these...
hey, I'm not saying that
No, I know,
nobody,
but all these
I'm not saying
prisons
that
are
nobody
filled
does
with
it.
Wilfred says he didn't do it, you say you... I don't think that's the issue
I was
here.
convicted.
victim?
I was convicted.
What about her? I mean, you said
I've
you've
seen
gone
her-
on with your life.
I've
You've
seen her
gotten
several
it together.
times since. I've seen her several times since.
And
I don't, hold on,
inside.
Lynn,
This is not
Lynn,
gonna
let's
go
get
with
back to the issue, okay? The issue at hand is, you believe, I understand, Chris, that
Okay.
if this law was in your community, you could never have turned your life
That's
around.
right. Like I've heard from this woman here. You do the crime, you do the time. Well, I did my time, and I'm still doing it. And now that I'm just becoming just a little bit more successful in my life, you know, I don't need a bunch of people on their porches pointing at me saying, this is the guy who screwed up, and he's never going to be above a snake. Well, I'm above that, and I'm certainly going to be one of these guys who are going to fight against it. Now, for repeat offenders, I might feel a little bit different.
So you think we should change the law for repeat offenders? And they should have to tell you?
Right.
Okay,
Definitely.
Wilfred, where do you stand on this?
Believe like he believes. Because what I got convicted of, I see it every day. I mean, people just walking and touching a little girl on her butt. I mean, fully clothed. I mean, the little kids were fully clothed. Now, that's sexual battery. I see it every day.
Well, you
I
know,
see people-
Wilfred, I tell you something. I got a real problem with this. The problem that I have with it is that I don't want you to use my show as your forum, you know, to state your particular position, to tell us that you are innocent, that you know, I'm really offended by that, Wilfred, because I think what you're doing here is you're telling us that those two little girls were liars, and I don't want you to say that here on the show, because you were convicted and that's the end of the story.
No, he's not, Shirley. He's saying that sexual assault and sexual battery, at least in the state of Louisiana, can cover a whole gamut of activities.
He's also saying that he never did it. He's saying he was an innocent man who has been wrongly convicted, and these two little girls told a story that wasn't true, and I don't want that on the show.
But he was also drawing the distinction out
Right.
between sexual
And
battery and sexual offense. And I mean,
And
sexual
Shirley-
offenders covers a whole gamut of activity.
Well, under
Shirley, if I
Louisiana
could
law,
say something?
Yeah, sure,
If
go
I
ahead,
could say something? If you take the document from my lawyer, where they even said
Wilfred, I'm
in
not
the
trying
paper-
your case on the show. And if you keep coming back to it, I'm going to keep saying to you, I'm asking you to stop doing this, please. I'm not trying your case all over again on my show. What I'm here to talk to you about is, because you've gone through this experience and you have found it very difficult to start your life over again because people in that neighborhood didn't want you, I thought it would be important to talk to you because you've lived through this experience from that
Right.
perspective. But not to come here and go through your whole case and retry your case right here on the Shirley Show.
Right, I
let me
understand.
tell you that in Louisiana, that it is specific. It's spelled out what all the offenses are for sex offenders. And just so Wilfred will know that from the first time he sat out and he registered and started out in parole, he's got 10 years. So.
Back in just a moment.